We're dedicating the song and the video to the memory of Abir Aramin, daughter of my friend Bassam Aramin. She was walking home from school when she was shot and killed by Israeli border police. She was 10 years old. She was just as precious to her dad and to her family as my daughter Emily is to me and my wife. This is also dedicated to the 437 children of Gaza who were murdered by Israel in the recent attack. They were all precious.
You tell me all peoples need land of their own, or the others have theirs, why not leave us alone? We bought it, we brought it to bloom in the sun. It's ours, always was. We won't let them take back our homes and our trees. We won't have them driving us into the seas. That's why we are forcing them down on their knees. But the children are dying in Palestine. You tell me of centuries caught in despair, pogroms, persecutions, and final solutions, the need of a homeland, safety for Jews. I hear you. You tell me of hatred, of fear and attack, of enemies everywhere we must fight back. The border towns under the gun, but 100 to 1. The children are dying in Palestine. You say there can never be peace till their outrages cease. Of course they say the same. You say it's not true that we forced them to leave, that Jews would do that, you just cannot believe. The Arabs are treacherous, born to deceive. They hate us. Well, it's true we've been hated, but when we arrive and take over their country in the name of our survival, is it any wonder that peace cannot thrive while the children are dying in Palestine? I'm told every state has its Jews, even Jews have their Jews. They've been there all along. You say we must search for some moderate way. We must find a middle ground to save the day. We shouldn't have settlements, they shouldn't prey on our nation. Where is the middle and where the extremes? We've settled their farmlands and stolen their streams. Our generous offers are not what they seem, and the children are dying in Palestine. We're trapped in this horror, it won't go away. We've conquered, but conquering won't win the day. We inspire their hatred, we watch in dismay. It's madness. Suppose we did take their land, planned it all along. Can we look at ourselves and admit we've done wrong? Can we all live together? Can we all belong? Can we stop all the killing in Palestine? Please, God, No more children dying in Palestine. In Palestine.
I was raised in the culture of Zionism. I was raised with the idea that everything Israel was good and everything about the Arabs was bad. I was the president of a Zionist youth group as a teenager and a member of two others. I worked in Israel for a short time as a pianist in a hotel. It wasn't until several years ago when I became really fed up with all of the bad news coming from Israel that I made a decision that I really wanted to educate myself thoroughly about the situation. I felt that I had a pretty good background in it, but I decided to basically read everything I could get my hands on and speak to everybody that I could think of who had personal knowledge of it from both sides of the situation. And I had every expectation that what would result was that my commitment to Israel would deepen. And that's absolutely not what happened. What did happen was I was shocked to find out that I'd been lied to all my life by my synagogue, by my family, by my Jewish community. I don't necessarily blame those people because I think they were lied to as well. I've come to understand that I've been supporting something all of my life that I never would have supported if I had been told anything resembling the truth. There's an element that's missing from most discussions about the Israel-Palestine conflict, and that is that there was an original sin. Nationalist Zionism sought to take a land that had a 95% non-Jewish population on it and make it into a Jewish exclusivist state. And it accomplished this in 1948 through massacres, campaigns of fear, and military forced mass expulsions. When you consider this and you consider what justice would mean in this situation, the idea of offering them a non-contiguous microstate on 22% of what used to be all theirs doesn't really reflect justice at all. And that's the two-state solution that is often discussed and never achieved. What really needs to be considered is that there's a refugee population that has been excluded from this land for 61 years. And what justice is about is ending all Jewish exclusivist laws and policies, making reparations, inviting this population to return, and initiating one multi-ethnic state based on the South African model.
Rich came in with this piece of music and he had the idea of two Jews having a conversation about the situation in Israel and coming from very different perspectives. And there's an old myth that a lot of people have lived inside of for years, if not generations, that Jews were always united on the question of Israel. But in fact, when you go and look at it, if you go back, you find all kinds of dissension, even among the people who did actually move to Palestine and help create Israel. There were people who had a very different vision, a vision of living together with the indigenous people who were essentially written out of history. So then, in the time since then, there's been a tremendous problem in the United States, specifically where the sort of other half of the Jews of the world live, basically, which is the silence in the face of this violence and this perversion of Jewish tradition into this very aggressive, militaristic, and dare I say racist practice that's going on in that region. And so the process of looking for justice for everyone has been washed away in this tide of denial. That's what we're trying to examine here. We're trying to go back to Einstein, back to Martin Buber, back to the people who dissented, who wanted to make a Jewish place together with their neighbors. And today we find, since the assault on Gaza, a tremendous space opening up even among the mainstream Jewish communities in the United States of questioning, of doubt, of looking for new ways to examine things, of listening to the people who refuse to participate in the Israeli army out in the territories. And so this is hopefully a contribution to that dialogue, to allowing that space to open up so that people can have the courage to come through in the face of possible reprimands from friends, family, and neighbors, and say, no, there are different ways to look at this, and there are other ways forward. So hopefully we'll add to that.